Have you ever dreamed of crossing the Pacific by ship, exploring some of the world's most exotic destinations without breaking the bank? Today, we're going to dive into must know secrets of Trans-Pacific Cruises. So stay tuned because we found some amazing deals at the end of this video that we're going to share with you to make your own journey even more affordable.
We're Mark and Monica, traveling the world full time while working remotely on our businesses. And this year alone, we've got 70 nights sailed on cruise ships. So we know a thing or two about making every trip unforgettable and affordable.
All right, so let's jump on in and talk about some Trans-Pacific cruising. There's some pretty amazing itineraries. We want to share all the details with you. And in particular, because we got inspired to do this video because we just booked another Trans-Pacific cruise. We booked it on the Ovation of the Seas. So we'll be heading back from Japan to Los Angeles in 2025. So really next year in May. The reason was we found an incredible deal. We had a reason to get back to the US a little bit earlier than we had originally planned. We were already going to be over in Japan. We're actually taking a Japan cruise on Princess.
Hmm.
And this came up, this deal, and we had to jump all over. In fact, we actually got a junior suite for under $300 per night for a couple before gratuities. And that comes with a whole bunch of extra perks. We want to share this deal with you, plus a bunch of others, but this inspired us to put together this video and share with you why we're doing this cruise and why you might want to look into Trans-Pacific cruising as well.
Yeah, we've talked in the past about transatlantic cruises. We've done quite a few of those. We've never done a trans-Pacific cruise, but that's about to change.
Yeah, and we now have two actually booked, which we'll talk about, one in 2025, and we have one in 2026 as well. So let's talk a little bit first before we get to the deals. What is a Trans-Pacific cruise, right? It is an extended voyage. Typically, you're talking about at least 2 weeks. So that's normal. You go to some pretty unique destinations, like Monica said. Typically, when we think transatlantic, you're going from the West Coast, let's say from California or from Seattle or even Vancouver in Canada, or sometimes even Hawaii.
You're going west to Asia, typically, sometimes Australia as well.
Yeah, and you're going to go to typically Tokyo is very popular, Hong Kong, and like Monica mentioned, sometimes you'll do Sydney and then you'll flip it. So always remember everything we talk about here. Usually you're going to have two opportunities per year, and we'll talk about when is the best time to do these type of cruises. These are repositioning cruises as well. You're not going to have nearly as many stops. There's pros and cons to that. For somebody who needs a lot of stops along the way, these are not necessarily going to be perfect for you, but consider these repositioning, getting you to Asia, getting you to Australia, or returning without that long haul, huge flight. Let's talk a little bit about the seasonality of cruises. So typically, you've got two main seasons. You have the spring season, which is like March to May. Usually the seas are generally pretty good. Nothing's guaranteed. You're going from usually, let's say, Asia to Alaska or Asia into California or Seattle, and then they're going to be repositioning for Alaska cruises. And then sometimes you're going to do like Hawaii, like we do have in 2026. We'll be going from Sydney to Hawaii, and that's going to get us basically back to the US.
Then in the fall, it's the other way around. So you have ships that aren't in maybe Alaska or Hawaii or California that are going back to Asia or maybe even Australia.
Like we mentioned, not only the Ovation of the Seas coming back from Japan, we mentioned a couple of times too, we did book, in case you're curious, we're sailing from Sydney to Hawaii, and we're going to do it on the Celebrity Edge. Another really great ship. We have sailed on the Celebrity Edge before in its early days when it had first come out. And this is a really lovely ship. It's a twin to the Celebrity Apex.
Mm.
And then they have some newer versions of this class as well, the Beyond.
And the Celebrity Ascent.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to this one. Again, amazing deal. And we'll talk about those in a moment when you see the nightlies that are possible.
Yeah. So we're doing this one in 2026.
One of the advantages of Trans-Pacific cruises is you can hit some places like that we haven't even been to. We've been to 90 some odd countries, but there's still a lot we haven't been to. We've never been to places like Bora, Tahiti, Fiji. So we're going to have some of those when we return back from Sydney to Hawaii, but you also get Asian destinations. Like we're going to end up in Tokyo. We're going to have this great cruise in Japan, and we're also going to spend some time in Tokyo and Osaka. But then we have to get back to the US. So of course we could fly. It's a very long flight, but we figured if we can get an amazing deal, which you'll see in a moment, on that return, it's incredible the price. Why not do it that way? It takes a lot more time, but it's a lot of fun along the way.
Most repositioning cruises, one thing they offer is value for money. You usually see lower pricing with repositioning cruises than you do with regular seasonal cruises. And Trans-Pacific cruises are no different. You have an excellent value per day. It's an inclusive experience. So your fare covers things like your accommodations, your meals, your entertainment, and your transportation, by the way. You have a multi-destination adventure because you get to see multiple countries on the same trip.
The ships need to fill them up. Sometimes it's more specific, the type of people that can go on these cruises. So if you can take advantage of it, it's pretty great. Now we have a whole bunch more secrets to traveling the world on a budget. Like we mentioned, we've been traveling full time since March 2023. We've been to 95 some odd countries at this point. We spend tons of time on cruise ships as well. If you want to learn a lot more about how we do it, go to the website on the screen or the QR code. You can download our free guide that we put together with a whole bunch more tips. And please, if you wouldn't mind, right now that you're thinking about it, you can give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That would help us a whole lot. We really do appreciate it. And we can continue to share deals just like this. What you need to know about any repositioning, and in particular, I've noticed on Transpacific, there are a lot of sea days. We like sea days. Like we mentioned, we work remotely. We don't mind breaking out the laptop, hooking up to the Starlink internet and doing our work, catching up on books on Netflix, relaxing when we have some off time. We love the fact that there's shows built in, a nice schedule every day, lots of things to do, whatever your interests are, going to the gym. We've had no problem at all filling our sea days. But if you're somebody who gets stir crazy, just be aware you've got a lot of days at sea back to back. So you just need to be very comfortable with that.
And there's a ton of stuff to do on the ship.
Yeah.
If you don't work, then even better because you can take advantage of all the activities. You can go to the spa, you can work out, you get up late, you have breakfast, then you got lunch a little bit later, and then it's dinner time. You can walk around the deck. There's a ton of stuff to do, plus enrichment activities like lectures, classes, sushi making, and stuff like that.
Don't forget if you're going west, so you're going from the West Coast over to Asia or Australia, it's nice because there'll be a lot of days where you're going to be able to turn that clock back and pick up that time. If you're going the other direction, you got to concede a little bit that you're going to be giving up some hours along the way, but it's 1 hour typically at a time on a given night. So very easy to plan for with these long days at sea. I don't think you have a problem with that. It's an amazing way to do it, but it will take some time.
Yeah, because the time changing is very gradual, you won't really feel jet lag at all.
Yeah, and one thing is you can avoid the jet lag in one direction. We've never felt it on a cruise ship versus, flying to Asia or back. I mean, it hits you for 2 or 3 days. You're not going to have that adjustment really at all. I think that's a pretty nice benefit. If you have the time, this is a pretty great way to do it. And you're going to see when we get to the pricing, a lot of times the cost for the whole cruise might be the same or even less at times than the actual flight would have been on its own.
Mhm.
So then people do sometimes ask us in the questions about the seas. Is it rough? What do you do? So I do want to touch on that a little bit. We typically on repositioning cruises, we suggest, especially if you haven't done one before, book on a large ship. There are smaller ships we'll talk about in a moment that do these crossings. I personally wouldn't recommend it for your first sailing if you haven't done one. A big part of the reason is there's just a lot to do on a big ship. They're going to have so many more activities, spaces, change of scenery, shows. The days will go very quickly. The gym will be bigger and better. But just be aware, normally when you're doing the spring crossing, seas are they're generally calm. In the fall, they're generally calm. So the seasons for this crossings are usually good, but you never know. Certainly weather can happen, but at least you're picking the best times. All right, so let's dive into some deals. We're going to start with the Royal Caribbean Ovation of the Seas. This is actually the sailing that we booked that got us going really on this video. And when we saw the deal, we had to jump on it. And you might be really interested as well. There's actually multiple opportunities on the Ovation of the Seas in 2025 and 2026. So it's definitely something you may want to consider. The one we're going on is this deal here on May 2025. We're going to go from Tokyo back to Los Angeles. It's 16 nights. Of course, we'll start, as you can see there in Tokyo. We've got a couple nice stops in Japan, and then we end back in Los Angeles. Now, the pricing was really what pulled us in. It's a great ship as well, but you can see here, you can actually get on for $154 for an inside cabin. By the way, that's 2 people. That includes your cruise, your transportation, your taxes, your gratuities for the crew, and all the standard inclusions that Royal Caribbean has, which is quite a bit. Now, of course, you can spend extra on all the ones I show you on the deals here. You can spend extra on Wi-Fi, specialty restaurants, shore excursions, but you don't have to. Everything there is customizable and totally optional up to you. In fact, you can get a balcony for under $200 per night for 2 people. Just think about in the US, can you get a decent hotel for that? Pretty hard, depending upon where you are, especially on any kind of big city. It's impossible. This includes everything else, right? All your food, all your meals. And if you have any kind of status on Royal Caribbean, even some really nice perks as well. Yeah, we booked on in a junior suite. We got a great deal through our cruise-only travel agent. And in this case, we were well under $400 for both of us per night. And that also gave us one of the really nice perks on Royal Caribbean is that we can eat in the Coastal Kitchen, which is this suite-only restaurant. Only dinner. We can't do it for breakfast or lunch just because that's reserved for full suite people. But it's something else that you can consider when you get these kind of prices. This is sometimes an opportunity to jump up onto maybe a cabin you typically wouldn't take on one of these cruises.
This one works particularly well for us because we were already going to be in Japan. But if you've ever wanted to see the cherry blossoms, maybe if you go in late March or early April, this might be a perfect way to return.
Ovation of the Seas also is a big ship, so there is a lot to do, like we mentioned. That's why we're going to feature it a few times. So if you want a big ship experience with lots of action, this ship would definitely have it. You also have some really great restaurants as well. Wonderland is one of the ones that we really enjoy. Chops Grill for steaks, Jamie's Italian. So you've got some nice specialty restaurants on there as well. Plenty of music and bars and spa, all that sort of thing. So this is a good one when you have a lot of sea days. There's going to be a lot to do on board, so you can do as much as you want or as little as you want. As well as being a big ship, it's going to be pretty stable going across the ocean for a number of days.
Or if you'd prefer to go to Japan, you can flip it around. So in September of 2025, you'll be able to go from Los Angeles to Tokyo on the same ship. So this one crosses the international date line and then hits ports like Sapporo and Hakodate before ending up in Tokyo.
Plus, you get 2 days in Sapporo, so it's one of those rare overnight opportunities, which is fun. That gives you a lot of time to explore and even stay out late if you want to.
Mm.
And then, as you can see, once again, the pricing pretty darn good. The balcony under $200 for a couple per night, all inclusive with the standard inclusions plus cruise taxes and gratuities. So I might actually make the leap on this one to a balcony because it's not that much more than an inside or ocean view. And even the junior suite, once again, still coming in under $400 for a couple for everything that we mentioned. You can start to see the value on these. In fact, we knew some people who did this sailing just recently this year, and they had a great time as a big group. It looked like there's tons to do. So that's what got us inspired as well to take this one.
In fact, they thought they'd have a lot of time to do some work on the ship, and they commented about how fast the days went. It was just a lot of fun for them.
Just like we said, there's multiple opportunities. So let's say that 2025 date wouldn't work for you that we showed you that we're booked on. Maybe 2026, you want a little bit more time to plan that amazing journey in Tokyo. And we would really suggest that if you go ahead and start in Tokyo this ship, then make sure you spend some time in Japan or somewhere else in Asia. You can even get down to Australia if you wanted to. So on this one, May is when you go 2026. And this is neat because you end up in Vancouver instead. And what that enables you to do could be something really fun and creative. You could do almost like a back-to-back with an Alaska sailing because all of the Alaska sailings kick off in usually about mid-May. And you'll have multiple different choices there. And it's also something we did a video on recently, which we'll put a link down below on Alaska sailings. We got some great deals there. So you can put two great deals together. In addition, pricing is better in Alaska in May, maybe into June. It gets much, much higher in July and August. And you get some really neat new spots here as well. You get Aomori, which has got incredible apple pie. We were there. Yeah, amazing apples. You get really an extra stop there. And then again, pricing super compelling. Once again, balcony cabins. In 2026 pricing, by the way, there's inflation. It really hasn't gone up that much in this case if you book far enough in advance. But these rates will go up. All these rates are the time that we're recording this video. So if you wait, yeah, they may be higher. So don't wait. If you're interested in one of these, go ahead and make the booking. You've got 3 really great choices on Ovation of the Seas. And you can even look in September 2026. They'll have the same flip back around from the West Coast, likely back to Asia as well.
This one is really cool. It's a Celebrity Edge cruise to Sydney, Australia from Hawaii. So you can go to Hawaii for a few days or a week and have a great vacation in and of itself, and then hop on a cruise to Sydney. And not only do you go to Australia, then you're also going to hit some of French Polynesia as well, to like Tahiti and Moorea, and then a little bit of New Zealand on the way into Australia.
It's not just about getting you there. It's also about the destinations. Really great pricing, a little bit higher than the Ovation of the Seas. It's Celebrity. Celebrity is always a bit more expensive. Your food's a little bit better. In fact, we have a video coming out that you'll need to check on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to this because we're actually doing a comparison on Royal Caribbean versus Celebrity. And we're going to break that down why maybe Celebrity is sometimes a little bit more expensive, but not that much, as you can see. Still under $400 for a couple for a balcony, even under $300 for an inside or an ocean view. This is definitely a great one to consider. Once again, the Celebrity Edge has got all kinds of great stuff to do. You can go to the website, of course, and get a vibe for the ship. It's really modern, very current, as you can see from the public spaces here. It's a beautiful ship outside and in. So you'll be really happy on this one if you do a Transpacific. You're going to enjoy your sea days. As you can see, there is a lot going on this ship and very current modern design. And by the way, we don't just record these videos and find deals. We sail all the time as well. I think we mentioned we probably have been on 70 some odd nights this year. And the next year, I think we have roughly the same booked. We're going to be actually on this sailing, but we're doing it from Sydney back to Hawaii in April 2026. And we'll be hitting a lot of those same great spots. So we'll be doing the Edge. As soon as I saw they were doing an Edge in Australia and on a repositioning, we decided to jump on it. It's new for Celebrity. This is a really neat one. First, we're going to do our first Princess deal. So Princess Cruises, it's on the Discovery Princess. But what we really like about this one is this wraps together multiple trips. Yes, you have your transportation from Seattle to Tokyo. You get to Tokyo in the fall, really nice time with weather, and then you can explore from there. We did a video on our trip on Azamara to Japan, and it was an amazing experience. So you can check that out in the channel as well. But what's really neat about this one is before you do your crossing, guess what? You get an Alaskan cruise. So you get Ketchikan, Juneau, Hubbard Glacier, Anchorage. So really slick because you get the repositioning, you get Seattle, you get Tokyo, and an Alaskan cruise. And once again, check out the pricing. You can do a balcony cabin for under $300 for both of you per night. And that's with all the inclusions like we mentioned there. So this is a really neat opportunity. All right, here's just a quick visual for you to see the Discovery Princess. Nice ship. And same like all of these, we made sure that we picked ones that have a lot to do on board because we certainly understand that there's a lot of sea days. So you want a lot of options. You want a lot of good food. You don't want the same food every day. And you're going to have that. And you want a lot of activities and things to do. So you'll definitely get that with Princess.
Similarly, you can flip it around and go from Tokyo back to North America. This one is a Holland America cruise on the Westerdam. So it goes out of Tokyo in April 2026, and you hit Kushiro, Japan before crossing on over to Alaska. There you will hit ports like Kodiak and Sitka, lesser known ports, lesser visited, plus Ketchikan and then Prince Rupert in BC. Then you head into Vancouver. So also a spectacular place to spend some time.
Yeah, and if you want, you can go do another Alaskan sailing right after that if you want to hit some of the other spots in Alaska, because you'll be right there at the start of the Alaskan season, or super easy to get from Vancouver anywhere else. And then you got the beautiful international city of Vancouver, or spending a few days in if you can do that. And again, pricing really good, under $400 for a balcony on Holland America. Holland America was really the trendsetters in this region in Alaska. So they know how to do it and do it right. And then you can see you've got some great deals there on Inside and Ocean View as well. This is really 2024 pricing, but you're able to book it in 2026. So we all are obviously concerned about inflation and prices going up. It's a great way to lock in the deals now at current pricing. Right now, I know some of you might prefer a small ship experience. We've talked really about big ships here, pretty much. Obviously, the biggest being Ovation. But if you want more of a small ship experience, we've had videos in our channel. We'll put some links down below on Azamara. We did also a video comparing Azamara to Viking. We'll put a link down below as well, but you can absolutely sail on Alaskan Pursuit. We've been on that ship, about 600, 650 people. You can sail between Tokyo and Vancouver, both directions, 2025 and 2026. A Viking, if you prefer Viking, has Tokyo or Hong Kong to Vancouver, and again, back and forth. So there's some different options there as well during those seasons that we mentioned. And these would be really nice smaller ship experiences. Just be aware of a smaller ship. You might feel the ocean a bit more. There might be a bit less to do, but you're certainly going to have maybe a little bit more luxury. They will cost a fair amount more than the deals that we showed you, but still, typically these repositionings, even on a Viking or an Azamara or an Oceania, any of the more expensive cruise lines, this is a way to try a more luxurious cruise line potentially, check it out, but do it at a much lower nightly rate than their typical cruises will be.
So there you have it. These are our Trans-Pacific deals. We hope you guys are as excited about doing Trans-Pacific Cruises as we are. It'll be our first one, obviously, and I just can't wait.
Go ahead and get yourself booked. That's the thing to do right now. Take advantage of these offers. Like I said, the pricing can definitely change. If you're on one of the ones that we're on, make sure you say hello when you're on board. And please do me a favor, leave some comments down below. We love to see and read your comments. Have you ever done a transatlantic sailing? Have you done a Trans-Pacific? Which ones? Do you have one booked? What are you looking at? And if we inspire you in this video, share that down below as well. Let us know which one you booked on. That'd be really great to hear. Any pros and cons, all that good stuff. Let's share it. Please give the video a thumbs up. Even more importantly, subscribe to the channel. It helps us quite a bit with YouTube, and then it motivates us to release even more of these type of videos for all of you doing the research, finding the great deals wherever and whenever you're traveling. So with that,
See you out there.